Good evening, I'm Jeff Lyons. It is 9 o'clock here, the 1st of May, Thursday night, time for the First Alert Weather Show at 9. We are now streaming on YouTube, and you can get us there every night too if you prefer, or you don't have Facebook, or you're on the app, or wherever you happen to be watching us. It's another option, another way to watch. And I am doing a little field testing here tonight, so I'm going to see if anybody's able to comment in over there on that, and I'm able to read it here in somewhat real time, because we like for these to be interactive, and if we do it that way, we can at least check a few things out. Something is looking weird. Oh, that's me. All right, let's move ahead here, and just before we get too far down the line, let me make sure that I am indeed streaming on YouTube. And it looks like I am. Okay, there I am. So I will just kind of look, and if anybody comments in, I'll see if it shows up over there. It doesn't have to be anything earth-shattering, just, hey, it works, or something like that. Nothing like being part of the testing process here, right? We got to thank Jason Gravens and Caleb and the rest of the gang here for making that all come together. All right, we do have some weather to talk about. We still have a First Alert weather day for tomorrow. We're expecting a few severe thunderstorms in the afternoon and evening. And actually, we've had a few not severe, kind of sub-severe storms that have worked across the northern edge of the tri-state over the last couple of hours. I'm going to give you a, let's do a 2-hour loop, and that'll show how everything just sort of bloomed up here in southern Illinois. We have basically two storm tracks, one across Gibson and Pike counties and the other one down here in southern Illinois. Everything, by the way, non-severe, little thunder and lightning out there, and those storms seem to be kind of fading away. So that is the current trend on the radar right now. Maybe if you're in Princeton or there in about Winslow, it would be maybe south of Petersburg, you can report if you're getting any rain. I know you're seeing lightning and hearing thunder. The atmosphere remains kind of unsettled, so we are going to have another day or two of scattered showers. Tomorrow really brings our best chance again for severe weather. That didn't really materialize today. The Storm Prediction Center tomorrow still has the southern half of the tri-state in a level 1 or isolated risk for severe storms tomorrow. And then Saturday, this weekend forecast is really gone down the tubes. We have a cutoff low that's developed. It was showing in the models yesterday. I thought, well, maybe it'll go away. It's not. So we will have some clouds and maybe some sprinkles over the weekend. The hour by hour takes the current showers and storms out to our east, then a quiet period there through tomorrow morning sunrise. By the afternoon, I'm expecting to see a few thunderstorms lining up across western Kentucky and moving in, and we would have a damaging wind threat. That really appears to be the main concern. Tonight it was hail with some of those storms. And through the evening, it's not really a one and done kind of situation. We may have a couple of rounds of showers and storms. This will also affect the Oaks tomorrow there at post time. Probably some rain then, and maybe rain at the Kentucky Derby, certainly beforehand, so it may be a wet track by the time they're running for the Roses. This is 5 o'clock our time, which would be 6 in Louisville. Still a chance of rain there at Churchill. And here we have some scattered showers wrapping around. And notice the clouds will keep spinning in from the north, and that's that cutoff low. Those things are really the bane of all weather forecasters. We don't like those because there's nothing to move them, unless you really get a decent high pressure or another storm system coming through. For tomorrow, the damaging wind risk is the only one that really shows up there at 5%, which is low, and hail also at 5%. Tornadoes really not noted for us in the tri-state, maybe a little bit farther south, and that's about it. Our rainfall model quite wet, maybe a little overdone here, but if we get sequential showers over the same spot, we may see another inch or inch and a half of rainfall before it's all said and done. The GFS much stingier with the rainfall through Tuesday. Quick check of severe parameters tomorrow afternoon around 4. A little low-level jet, not much there really to hang your hat on, and you're going to see here all the severe parameters are pretty puny for tomorrow. Not much shear, plenty of moisture. Of course, as we know, dew points will still be in the upper 50s to around 60. And the other two things that we look at, Cape, which would be the energy available for storms, especially if we heat up, which we're expecting to get 70, 75. The Cape would be highest actually over western Kentucky, and that kind of coincides with the area most likely to see some storms. Supercells really not showing up either, nor is a tornado threat. We wouldn't expect it anyway, given all the other parameters. Temperatures are cooling, but by degree here, so we have 50s and 60s, basically the northern half of the country, and then there's this little wedge here of warmer, more humid air, and that's been the breeding ground for these showers and storms over the last several days. Current temps now mid-60s, 65 at Indianapolis, Paducah at 69, Des Moines at 55. We do have some much cooler air kind of waiting in the wings out there. And of course, temps here in the tri-state huddling around 70 degrees. We hit 77 today. That's still a little bit warmer than normal, and dropped down to 67. For May, one day on the book now, we hit 77. As we mentioned, no rain in the gauge at Evansville Regional Airport. And then for the year, we are still at about 4 3/4 inch ahead of normal. April, in fact, did come in 7th place there with 8.74 inches. All right, for tomorrow, the high temp will climb into the low 70s during the afternoon. A lot will depend on how quickly the clouds return. And you see, we're just kind of in the middle of several rounds or waves of energy. There's really no big trigger mechanism here. So no kind of outbreak, but rather just these isolated pulsy type storms that may produce some hail overnight and then some damaging winds tomorrow as the system tries to move to the east. And that's kind of how it's going to go. And then you'll see this kind of circular pattern here over the tri-state, and that's where that cutoff low will keep the rain and clouds with us now through Sunday. So that's the heartbreak of forecast. That weekend was looking great 2 days ago, but you know, we have to tell you the truth and keep up with the trends and the models here. So it has shifted a bit. We will get back in the mid-70s next week. That at least looks somewhat pat. But yeah, the GFS and the European actually was first to pick up on this idea of a cutoff low, and now the GFS is in hook, line, and sinker. So between the two models, I'd say, yeah, we're going to have a cloudy weekend, and there will be some sprinkles and showers at times. The European really showing it here. You see that swirl there as that low tries to resolve and move out, and then more rain coming in late next week. And the European model, much wetter, with 1.5 inches of rain over the next 7 days. No huge swings in the pressure, even though we will have that cutoff low in the area. It's not a very deep low. That's usually the problem with these things. They're just kind of there, kind of like a rash on the weather map. 61 tonight, some scattered storms, still possible, mainly rain, but you could hear some thunder, even get a little hail out there. Tomorrow up to 75, but scattered storms will move in during the afternoon, particularly over western Kentucky. And then for the 7-day forecast, we finally appear to dry out for next week by about Tuesday. Longer range, our temperatures are going to stay slightly above normal up through the 11th of May, and our rainfall then kind of trends back to near normal. May is typically a month where we get about 4.5 inches of rain. Stephanie Stallings sent she didn't identify the dog or name the dog, but this pooch here is in a car seat. I don't know if you can see that or not, going for a ride, a nice drowsy car ride. All right, I'm very curious to see how the YouTube function works and the other one too. So let me see here. You know, maybe I didn't allow comments. Oh, there's a live chat in here too. I didn't even see that. Well, I think I have to configure it that way when we come in. So, oh, no, there they are over there. Okay, so we've got a few folks in. Hello, just came, Christina. Okay, I recognize some names here now. All right. Well, hey, I'm glad you're over here. If we sent you over from Facebook, and we're still going to be on Facebook too. I'm just learning how to use the, oh, I see, I have to sign in to chat. Okay. I have Kevin Schultz. There was a brief shower with a little thunder in West Salem about an hour ago. Okay. Evan Grant, how come Evansville weather observations are down? I don't know. Sometimes the ASOS or the site at the airport will go down from time to time. Kent McKinney reporting we are coming in loud and clear on YouTube. All right, let's see now. Now let's all go over to Facebook and see what's happening there. No, I'm not going to mess around with you like that. I appreciate your help. That answered my questions. Okay, meanwhile, Jeff Miller's watching on the big screen on YouTube. Okay. I guess we're coming in all right. One thing I did notice was that the delay on YouTube was very short. It's almost not quite live, but very close to being live. Laura Gray's watching from Dawson Springs. Jeanette Rice is in tonight. William Raleigh still celebrating Tesla's birthday there, the dog. All right, Christina Wedding. Okay, so I saw you on both sides. Amy Elsner says, does the Derby look like a washout now? I don't think a washout, but I think it's going to rain on Saturday, so wet track. I don't know, how that plays into your plans. Charlie Knoll, Oakland City just had dime-sized hail. Okay, that doesn't surprise me. That cell that was moving in there was pretty impressive. Jeff Miller reporting we are 13 seconds faster on YouTube versus the phone. All right, good to know. What happened to Evansville having a clear weekend? Yeah, you tell me. I really thought we were going to get through this thing, but what happened is, or in the models, it started depicting it, but what will happen actually with the weather is that cold front moves through. It kind of creates almost like an eddy, like when you pull a paddle, like if you're canoeing and you get that little swirl behind it. Same kind of thing is happening in the atmosphere, and so you get this low pressure instead of it's a swirl, just not like in the water, and it keeps spinning. And as long as that thing is there, then it's going to screw up the forecast. It's going to be cloudier than we thought, and maybe rainier too. Yeah, bummer. Jason, the drummer, wants to know if we're getting any more severe weather. Maybe tomorrow in the afternoon over western Kentucky. Okay. Well, this is pretty cool. I'll have to figure out how to divide my time here between the two comment streams, but the more the merrier here. Before we go to Science Corner, I want to go back to the radar here real quick and just check in on those storms again for you. If you're coming in late, or maybe you're watching us for the first time here on YouTube TV, there are a few thunderstorms around the area. They are not severe, although we had a report of dime-sized hail there in Oakland City a little while ago. And then as we zoom in here, you can see, especially up here around Pike County, that would be out to the south of Winslow. I'll get it right over here for you. Little thunderstorm going on at the moment. I would guess there's some lightning in there. I saw lightning when I came in from outside here just a little while ago. So a little bit of lightning, and we can also screen it here for hail. And I'll bet we'll see a little hail core in there, probably some small hail there at Hartwell and Winslow here along. I think that's that might be 61 or 56. I can't tell up this close, but you know where you are there near Arthur Junction. And that's it. There really isn't anything else brewing out there at the moment. But don't be surprised if you hear a little more thunder overnight tonight or some showers. Let me give a broader picture here, and I think you'll be able to see it. We'll loop it, and you have still a few showers, probably here in Union County, maybe Webster, you'll get a little rain coming in. And for our friends in Jasper, Du Bois County, out in Ireland, right there on the border, Otwell up here in Pike County, little rain coming your way too. Okay? All right, for Science Corner tonight, let's see here. Got a little sidetracked, and that's all right. Here we go. I want to talk a little bit, all of you, I'm assuming you're big, weather fanatics, so you already know about the EF scale for tornadoes, and the higher the number, the more damage you have, and it's based on wind damage and impacts. It's not predictive. You can't look at the radar and say, well, there's an EF2, and we're going to get this kind of damage. You have to look at it after the fact and assess and survey the damage, which is what happens after about any tornado here in the tri-state. Most of the tornadoes that we get around here tend to be EF1s and 2s. We will come up with an EF3 occasionally. Last year we had an EF3 in western Kentucky right around Memorial Day, and we had an EF3 in Mount Vernon there on July the 9th. Those were the strongest tornadoes. EF4s, I think the last one, if I'm not mistaken, was the December 10th, 2021 tornado, and no EF5s here in the tri-state. Well, one of the ways that we get better, hopefully, at forecasting, predicting, helping you stay safe is to survey damage after the fact. Now, when I say we, I mean the weather enterprise, and that would be the National Weather Service, your EMA, county EMA folks do this, as well as some others. And basically, there are several steps to that survey process. You know how then we'll show you, okay, this tornado was on the ground for 12 miles and 400 yards wide and did this, that, and the other, was an EF2 or whatever it was. So that process is actually multi-step. So the first thing is the Weather Service determines areas that need to be surveyed based on what the radar was showing. So if they issued a tornado warning and there were, for example, damage reports, or if they didn't issue a tornado warning and there were damage reports of tornadic type damage, or wider scale thunderstorm wind damage, then they would send a meteorologist out to survey. And so in our case, the folks come usually from Paducah, sometimes from Louisville or Indy, a surrounding office to do the surveys. Once that happens, they take pictures, they plot on maps. Actually, it's like an iPad. They put down geolocate, pins and so forth on the map. And then they look for patterns in the damage, and they plot where they see different things. For example, twisted debris or cars flipped over, whatever it is. The path width is measured. Sometimes they get a drone up. The EMA is good about that, and we have some other private drone people that will assist in the effort. And then after all of this has been gathered, all this data, including drone pictures, measurement, and so on, those then go back to the Weather Service. They are compared with archived radar data to try to kind of line up, okay, at 9:02, this is when this was happening, and then work through it backwards. And after all that is done, the data is then quality controlled and released to the public. In other words, it's double checked to make sure that the EF rating is correct, the numbers and so on are correct. So it is a big process. It's one that the National Weather Service, Paducah, for the most part for us, does an excellent job at in getting those turned around and out to us very quickly. Hopefully, they won't have to do many more this season. We've already had 11 tornadoes this year, which is a fast start to the season. Keep in mind, May tends to be the big month for tornadoes here in the tri-state. So we are not off the hook yet. I'm going to look at your questions here again. James Garrison, anything new for the weather? Well, the weekend is starting to sour on us. My forecast is souring on us because of a cutoff low, clouds and maybe a little rain at times. Tony Kitely wants to know how much rain tomorrow. It will depend. If you're under those thunderstorms, it could be a quick inch of rain. If you're not, it might be some sprinkles. It's not going to be widespread rain, but rather with those thunderstorms as they come through. Okay. And okay, now we're going to go over to our, oh my, we've got a lot of folks over here too. This is on YouTube. Let's see. Actually, I think I got all of those. I'm going to have to do a little more playing around here and learning. And okay, so we got a few of you on there. We appreciate that. If you haven't done it, go ahead and subscribe to our channel, to the 14 News channel. We have a lot of cool stuff on there. I'm shamelessly self-promoting the Inside Look podcast, but if you like hearing me talk to old, not necessarily old, but coworkers and former coworkers, you can check that out. And Comus is on there this week. So it's been a fun project for me and another way to use our streaming facilities here. All right, that is the weather show at 9. I will have an updated look ahead to the weekend. I'm pretty sure it's not going to change on 14 News at 10. And then I will see you back here tomorrow night at 9 o'clock. Please stay safe and thanks for watching.